Good evening, friends. Today is again Monday, the 15th October 2018. This recording is for the supportive video for further stanzas for the fourth stanza of the first chapter. This recording will be the supportive one, hence I will call this as the third stanza, the first chapter, third stanza, part 2. Let's begin. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So here in the last stanza, what we had seen is this one, the four classes of consciousnesses, Chatubhida Chitta, and they were this one, Kāma-vacharam, Rupa-vacharam, Arupa-vacharam, and Lokkuttaram. Let's continue. Let's put it on top. Yeah, before we move further, let's see the four things in our life, which is called Bhava-CAKKA. Bhava-CAKKA is the wheel of life. In the wheel of life, the wheel begins with jati, or birth, or rebirth is also called as jati. There is actually not much difference between rebirth and birth, as we would have heard the stories of rebirths of gods from heaven who took birth on the earth. So it is rebirth. So the Pali name is jati, and then after you are born, you age. Age is called jara. Jara means aging. And then the next one is sickness. Vyadi. Vyadi means sickness. Many types of sicknesses come to us. And aging is a baby is born, and then it ages to a boy or a girl, and then to a grown man or woman, and then grows to an old age man or woman, and then gets lots of sickness in between. Some people don't get much sickness, and then there is death. It's called marana. Marana means death. After death, there again comes rebirth or jati. This is called as the Bhava-CAKKA, the wheel of life. And in the last slide, we have seen, for example, this god from the Mara, from the 11th heaven, the Para-nimitta Vasavati Deva, who controls the beings in the cycle of life, who wants those who die. This god wants them to be born again, and then to age, to have sickness, and then die again and come. So those who try to escape this wheel of life is actually, I think this god is trying to control the beings. That's what happened with Buddha also. This god challenged Buddha at many a times, and at last Buddha won this god along with his army. So we go to the next slide. Okay, before we go to the next slide, yeah, we have, yeah. Okay, now let's again, we are seeing, we are still in the first chapter, and we are seeing the ultimate reality in this chapter. We are seeing the ultimate reality called Chitta. So for the ultimate realities, I have created a table here. Let me maximize it. Here. So you can see the there are four things every ultimate reality. The ultimate realities are let's go to the the ultimate ultimate fourfold. The ultimate realities are four in number. One is the Nibbānam is unconditional one, unconditioned one, and then the conditioned realities, which are consciousness Chittam, impressions of consciousness Chetasikam, and then the materiality Rupam. So for all four of this, there is some type of demarcations or the behavior which we will be studying in this. In every chapter we will try to study the characters and other things. For example, here in the next slide, what I have done is for the ultimate reality, or it's called as the nature of ultimate reality Chitta. The nature of ultimate reality is of four kinds. One is the characteristic, is the Lakkana, what character does it have, and then the second one is of three different types. One is the function, rasa, or and then the performance of a particular task, which is called as the kicca. Kicca is the task which is completed, and then the third one is the achievement of a goal, or the sampatti, some type of achievement of something by this ultimate reality. So the first one is the characteristic of the ultimate reality, and then this is the table we will be using for all the ultimate realities. First one is the Lakkana, characteristic of the ultimate reality, and then the function of the ultimate reality, and then the performance kicca of the ultimate reality, and then the achievement of something or a goal by this ultimate reality, which is called as sampatti. And then the third one is called third differentiation. This function, performance and achievement belongs to the second category. Some of the ultimate realities may have only function, or some may perform a particular task, or some may achieve a certain goal. But for example, for Chitta, it has only a function. It doesn't perform something. It doesn't also achieve a goal. For example, here in the next slide, this performance is left blank, and achievement is also left blank, but function, we have it here. And then the third one is the manifestation, Pachupatthana. Pachupatthana means is in which way it shows up. Manifestation is generally related to the mind of the meditator. For any meditator, the meditator will be able to sense the particular chitta in the mind. And then the fourth one is the proximate cause, or the principal condition upon which it depends, which is called as the padatthana. Padatthana, it means the cause for it to arise. For example, if you consider the chitta or the consciousness, for example, here the ultimate reality consciousness, here what we will be seeing in the padatthana is what has caused it to come up here, what has caused the chitta to arise. Let's see the next table here. So here, which is called as the delimits, or the limits to up to which this chitta can go or can manifest itself, or like this. The nature is of the ultimate reality chitta. The characteristic lakkana is knowing or recognizing an object, which is called vijanana. Vijanana means just to recognize the object. What chitta does is just it recognizes the object. That's all what it does. And the function of the chitta, the rasa or the function of the chitta is the pupangama. Pupangama means the forerunner of the cetasikas, consciousness impressions, or we will see in the second chapter. Just at the moment we will just remember that it is the forerunner, or is the first one which arises in the mind just before the feelings or whatever occurs after that. So, and what we can see here is also that the chitta arises with the cetasikas, and it arises with them and then stays with them and then goes away with them. There is no performance here, there is no goal also here for the chitta. And then the third one is the manifestation here. What it manifests here as it appears in the meditator's experience. Paccupatthana is the consciousness is felt like a continuous process. It is continuous. There is or it is felt as an unifying process. It's called as sandhana. Sandhana means continuity or unification. And then the last one is the cause for this is padatthana, is because of mind and matter. Mind is called as the nama and matter is the rupa. Because of the mind and matter, what happens is the chitta or the consciousness arises. Because there is mind and there is matter outside, and when these both are seen or comes, the chitta just arises. Let's go to the next slide. And this is the table. This structure of the table we will be using for explaining, for finding the characteristic, function, performance, achievement, and then achievement of a goal, manifestation, and the approximate cause of any of the ultimate realities. Now let's move to the next slide here. The classification of chittas. So what we are seeing here is the plane in which the chitta is seen. This is a classification, and the plane here, according to the plane there are 4 types of chittas, and according to the nature or the jati or the kind of chitta, there are 4 types here. Let's see this side here first, according to the plane or Bhumi classification. The first one is sense sphere consciousness, and then the fine material sphere consciousness, which we saw back in the slides. I will show it again. And then the immaterial sphere consciousness, and then the supramundane consciousness. Let me see. Let me show you again the chittas at a glance. What we have seen here is the first one is the Kama-vachara sense-sphere chittas, and then the Rupa-vachara chittas, fine material sphere chittas, and then the Arupa-vachara chitta, which is existing, which are the consciousness that is arising in the immaterial sphere chittas, and then the supramundane chittas, which does not belong to any of the 31 planes of existence. Therefore, I have used the symbol of rocket here. So that's what is here. According to the plane is the sensual sphere consciousness, which is just denoted by the nerve. Fine material sphere consciousness, which is denoted by some type of firecrackers, what we see when we burst the firecrackers, fine material. And immaterial sphere consciousness is by the electrons. Symbol is the electrons and the emotion. And then the supramundane, I just denote it with Buddha's symbol, because these beings are destined to become Buddha. Though these beings who develop the supramundane consciousness may live in any of the worlds, they are destined to become Buddha. And on the other side is according to the classification, according to the nature or kind of classification, according to jati, is called as jati. So first one is unwholesome consciousness. Unwholesome is I have denoted by the danger symbol here with the skull and the bones. The danger symbol, unwholesome, is not wholesome, or which is not beneficial, which actually gives us negative or bad consequences. And then the wholesome consciousness, or good, with an apple. I have denoted it with an apple. And these wholesome consciousnesses are good. When you do this, you will at the moment itself, at the moment of committing a wholesome consciousness, you can feel happy. You can at the moment itself feel the happiness beginning, and the result is also very good for the wholesome consciousness. The third type is the resultant consciousness. Resultant consciousness, or the results of resulting consciousness, which are coming from the unwholesome consciousness, and then the wholesome consciousness, which I have denoted by the turning arrow. The turning arrow, or the resultant consciousness, the symbol is the turning arrow. And then the functional consciousness I have denoted by a gear. Functional is consciousness that just functions. It doesn't produce any resultant, or it cannot be classified as unwholesome or wholesome consciousness. It is just functional. These consciousnesses are special to higher beings, for the higher worlds, and also for beings like Buddhas, Arahants, and Pacceka Buddhas. Let's go to the next slide. Let's first see in detail the chittas according to the nature or jati. The first one is the unwholesome rooted chittas. This is our world, or any world here. Any world here is generally the world which is lower is the sensual sphere, unwholesome. Yeah, this is what we see here is the greed, hatred, and delusion actually revolves around this world, and the beings or like a slave to the greed, slave to the hatred, and slave to delusion. These three things rule these worlds. This greed is called lobha, hatred is called dosa, and delusion is called moha. So lobha, dosa, and moha are ruling these lower worlds, which I have denoted in red color. Generally, yeah, in the lower worlds here, and here in the lower worlds, what we can see is the greed-rooted chittas, greed, hatred, and delusion are ruling the beings here, and these are rooted because they cannot easily escape from here, and they are stronger. The results or the dangers are stronger here. As we go up, the dangers are lessening, and it's freeing up as we go up. And akusala means unwholesome. AKUSALA-CITTA is unwholesome chittas. So here the unwholesome chittas is called AKUSALA-CITTAs. Wholesome is called and then the next slide is the KUSALA-CITTA. Kusala is wholesome chittas. Wholesome chittas are generated by non-greed or generosity. For example, when you help somebody, you can see the non-greed here or generosity here, which is called as alobha. Alobha is the opposite of greed. So here lobha is greed, and the opposite is the wholesome chitta called alobha chitta. And then the non-hatred is otherwise called as loving kindness chitta. Is called adosa chitta. And then the non-delusion or the wisdom-rooted chitta is called amoha mula chitta, amoha chitta. We will see it deeper soon. We will again revisit this in the next stanza, of course. And before we move, in this resultant, in this slide, what we see is how the resultant, what is resultant, vipāka. Resultant is called vipāka. Vipāka, it means the part and parcel of the first one. For example, here the wholesome karma, volitional action. Volitional is the action that is done by your thought or your own willingness. Your own willingness is called volitional action. So the wholesome karma here I have denoted with green color, and then the resultant is what we see here is what we consider here is all happening, which is happening in the purely mental plane. What the chittas are forming, and whatever the resultant is forming is all what we consider is in the purely mental plane. We are not considering the action outside the physical action, what we see here, what we see in the world. We are just considering the wholesome karma with a tick mark here. Good volitional action results in the wholesome karma resultant. Resultant is result action, chitta, which is called as the kusala karma vipāka. Kusala karma vipāka. Karma is action. So wholesome resultant is the karma, wholesome karma resultant. and here the unwholesome is called the akusala-kamma. Here what we see here is the akusala-kamma. Here the kusala-kamma is done, and then it results to kusala-kamma vibhaga, or the kusala or the wholesome kamma resultant. And here the akusala-kamma with a cross mark here should not be done, and it results in the unwholesome kamma resultant, or otherwise called as akusala kamma vibhaga. So this is the slide what we can see for the resultant vibhaga, to visualize it in the mental plane. And in the next slide, what we see is the fourth type. Here is the fourth type, which we saw now is the resultant, and the next one is the functional chittas. Functional consciousness is what we see here. I have denoted it by not green and not red. Red is for unwholesome, green is for wholesome. I have denoted here, and then for the functional I have used here the yellow, which what we can see here is neither it is good kamma or considered as the kamma or the kamma resultant. No kamma resultant is produced here. Just the functional is KRIYA or kriya chitta. It means it is just done. For example, a Buddha has lots of these functional chittas, and there is no resultant, or there is no results formed. There is no kamma generated, so there is no fruit of the kamma. They just live and go. There is no kammas generated, so it's called functional consciousness. Yes. And then the functional consciousness is also denoted by the gear. And then the next slide is what we see is the ABYÄKATA-CITTA. ABYÄKATA is called indeterminate. It is, we cannot say what it is. There are three. One is the functional consciousness, functional kriya chitta. It doesn't produce any resultant, so it is indeterminate, so we cannot determine it is wholesome or unwholesome. And then the wholesome kamma resultant itself doesn't produce any kamma, because it is a resultant, as we can see here. It is the result of the wholesome action done here, and here the unwholesome kamma resultant is the result of the unwholesome kamma volitional action done here. And this in turn, these two in turn, the wholesome resultant kamma and the unwholesome resultant kamma, will again not produce any more kamma. So that's called as that's why these two are called as ABYÄKATA, along with the functional consciousness. So the functional consciousness, the wholesome kamma resultant consciousness, and the unwholesome kamma resultant consciousness, all three do not produce any more resultant. So these three are called ABYÄKATA-CITTA, or the indeterminate consciousness. Let's go to the next slide. So hence we have 4 classes of consciousness according to the action, according to the in the mind. This is of course what we consider here is all in the mental plane itself only. So here the wholesome and the unwholesome I have denoted with the danger symbol and the burning desire, and the fire of desire, burning desire, along with the danger symbol, which is the unwholesome chittas. And then the resultant chitta with turning arrow, and then the functional chitta with a gear, So the resultant and the functional I have denoted by LO because it cannot be classed as wholesome or unwholesome, and it doesn't produce any more resultants. So one can visualize this. Now, now before moving to the so KAMA, let's again from the slide 34. Let's go again to here. The sensual sphere on the bottom is the KAMA Vachara Bhumi, or the sensual. KAMA is sensual. So the let us see what is this KAMA, and then here also in the Chittas what we can see here is the KAMA Vachara is KAMA Vachara Chittani is here at the bottom here, and let us see what is first KAMA here. So the KAMA is generally pertaining to five things, which are the five senses. Even though this is called as KAMA is generally of two types. The sensuality, KAMA is called sensuality, is of two types. The subjective sensuality is what the person or the being is capable of here, and then the objective sensuality is pertaining to the five external sense objects. For example, here is the objective is for the eye of the particular being. The visual form is the objective one. The subjective one is the eye, or the craving through eye to see a new object, to see the object, to crave, to feel the with senses or pleasure the craving through eye. And the source is objective source is the visual form. Craving through ear is the objective is sensuality is the sounds. For example, when we hear the sweet sounds of the songs, or the sounds of your loved ones, then you want to hear them more. So this is called as a craving through ear, and the subjective sensuality here comes through the ear. And then next one comes from the craving through nose, and the objective is smells. When you smell good food and good smells, smells from the flowers, you can see that these are the external objectives, smells, or which is the food for the craving through nose. And the sensitive part for the smells are present in the nose. That's what I have denoted here. And then the next one for the tastes, for the tasty foods, we can see that the craving is through the tongue, and the tongue has the sensitivity part for the tastes. For the taste through eating or the tongue, and as the food goes beyond the tongue to the stomach or the esophagus and then to the stomach, the taste is not felt, and hence as the food goes away from the tongue, we have to again give for example, while eating for example an ice cream, for example, when the tongue tastes the ice cream, and then the taste materials go into the stomach, the taste comes down, and in order to feed the craving through tongue, we again have to lick the ice cream again to keep up the taste, keep up the craving for the through the tongue. And then the touch is the objective sensuality, and what we can see here is for the touch, it is the sensuality, the sensitivity part for craving through body is spread all throughout the body, and it is more at the for example the sensitive or the sexual parts of the body, for example the breasts and sexual part, the sensitivity part, sensitivity material, the sensitivity part is more in that region, and generally it is spread all throughout our body. Hence we can feel the touch, and hence we can also feel the sexuality, sexual feelings also arise through the touching of the body. So what I have done here is I have denoted the KAMA as sensual and not sense, just sense, because the body touching is touching sense is very strong when compared to all these four, and hence the beings in the KAMA-LOKA, or the sensual realm, or the sensual worlds, or craving generally, mainly for the touch, or the sexual or the sensual touch of the body is more valued here in the KAMA-LOKA. And then the next, coming to the eye, ear, nose and tongue, is also valued next to the body, because the sensitivity material is spread strongly in the body. Let's see once again the KAMA-LOKA here. The KAMA-LOKA here. What we can see here is the sensual sphere plane, or here the Kāma-vācara cittani, Kāma, and then the KAMA-LOKA here, in which the beings here, human plane, the gods here, and then the beings which are lower than us, the hell beings, animals, ghosts, and the titans, asuras, petas, or below us, and these beings generally crave too much for the touch, and hence I have put here as the sensual sphere plane. Through the sensuality is through all the is craved through the 5 doors, 5 senses. Hence here the sensual sphere chittas, Kāma-vācara cittani, or Kāma bhumis. And where is the hell here? We have seen the some people might have seen the asuras, or the lower gods, the powerful. They look very powerful and gigantic, and some people are able to see these asuras in the village side in the world. People have seen these asuras and thought them as gods, and some are following them and praying them, and these beings or otherwise called, or can be called as the fallen angels or the fallen gods from the above realms. They have fallen to this Titans, Asuras, and they also share our world, and ghosts share our world. Petas, they share our world. Some have seen it. And animal realms, we of course can see the animals, and we interact with them very well. And then the hell realm, where is this hell, is just below us. What Buddha told is the hell world is below us. Probably it is below our world, and I think that we cannot reach it just by drilling the earth below and trying to go into this hell. Or maybe this hell is, as Buddha told, the hell is below us. Maybe it is in other dimension below us, or maybe it is directly below us, but we cannot, or we may not be able to get to this plane just like that through our physical way, by drilling a hole into the earth or something like that. And personally, I have seen the ghosts, some ghosts, and I do not know whether they are ghosts, but I have seen it. And I have not seen the Titans yet. Yeah, that's it for this slide. And let's go back to the KAMA slide. So here the visual form, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches. And another thing about beings here, for example, ghosts, animals, and hell beings, and asuras, what the humans can do is we have to share our metta. We can share our metta, the loving kindness, to these beings, and these beings can share can get our metta and be happy. For example, petas, or very unhappy beings, animals are okay, but they are animals are under constant fear, and hell beings don't get any chance, even a small chance to enjoy. Even a moment of enjoyment is devoid of in this world. They cannot enjoy even a moment of happiness in the hell world. And petas, or hungry ghosts, they just roam around because they are greedy, or for example, a human or somebody is born or dead or die because of extreme greed, extreme hate, or extreme hate. They are generally born as ghosts. And delusion, extreme delusion, or born in the animal world. And again, extremes of hate and extremes of hate and extremes of greed will lead to beings to be born in the hell, and to some extent they will be born in the ghost realm. So let's again go to the 34. So KAMA, it means sensual, in accordance with me. But certain books term it as sense spheres, which I do not agree. I have tried to know this by looking into the Pali meaning of it. So sensual world, KAMA LOKA, sensual world is correct as per me. And then the next slide is about LOKΑ. So this slide, through this slide, we will be able to know about LOKKUTTARＡ. First, we will try to know what is LOKA here, and then let's find out what is not pertaining to LOKA. So what is pertaining to LOKA is of three broad types. One is the world of living beings, which is Satta. Satta means living being. LOKA, so the living being world. LOKA is living being sphere or the world in which we live, in which the gods live, in which the other beings live, like animals, or the beings which we cannot see, like the viruses and other things live in this Satta Loka. The ghosts also live in this, and the titans also live in this. Whatever living is living in this. And then the next one is the physical universe, Okasaloka. Physical universe is just the physical things like the big stars and the worlds which have the for example Pluto, Mars, or some other worlds, some other planets and other big things, or where there are no sattas, no living beings. If we travel to this physical universe, for example, we have gone to Mars or the moon, for example, we have not seen any living things. So these are the physical universe, which extend probably to infinity. The worlds are called as Loka. And then the third one is the world of formations, Sankara Loka. Sankara Loka is another type of Loka, which is produced because of the Sankara or the formations, which we will see in the later slides. So the totality of the conditioned phenomena, physical phenomena, and the mental phenomena. So here the world of formations, as we see here, can be called as the mental phenomena. For example, beings who don't have a body at all. They have a mind, and the mind is spread several kilometers in the space, for example. So these are the world of formations, which come under the Sankara Loka, the world of the mind, for example. The world of the Chitta or the mind is here, and here the world of mind and body is existing together in the Satta Loka. And these beings who have only the mind spread over several kilometers do not do any action at all, because they don't have the five senses of they don't have the organs of the eye, they don't have a body for touching, they don't have the nose, or they don't have the ear, they don't have the tongue for eating. They just live like that, and then pass down in the cycle, or reborn in the lower realms just below them when they die. So these are the lokas. So the Lokkuttara denotes what what doesn't belong to this one. What doesn't belong to this one is, of course, Nibbana, of course, and Lokuttara consciousness can exist here, but they will finally enter Nibbana. Yeah. So this is the last slide for This is the last slide for this video. This is a supportive lecture here for the ensuing stanzas. So these the materials I have given here are essential to understand the subsequent slides, subsequent stanzas. So let's finish this one. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Let all beings get the good karma, the share of the equally the good karma that I have generated by creating this video, and all the pertaining good karmas that arise from these videos. Let everyone get it, known and unknown beings in all directions, and may all beings in all the three time frames forgive me for the errors that I might have done to them. Let all beings be peaceful and happy by this. Thank you.